Okay, now we will have another example as a case study of price ceiling case. As you can see here, this is one example of price ceiling. Let me show you this one. Okay. 1973, the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Country. This is the initial of OPEC, right? The initial of OPEC, the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries Association, right? OPEC raises the price. They increase the price of crude oil. Crude oil is oil which is not processed. This is original oil from the earth, right? Pumping the oil pumping down from the earth, right? This is not processed oil. This is original crude oil. We call it crude oil. In the world oil market, they increase this one because the crude oil is a major input used to make gasoline. From the crude oil, here's crude oil, once this was processed, okay, lots of byproduct here, gasoline, plastic, and lots of chemical byproduct, right? Lots of chemical byproduct, right? Byproduct. Comes out of this one, right? Comes out of this one. So this crude oil is the original oil from the OPEC. So they increased the price of this oil, right? They increased the price. They raise price. Okay, as the OPEC increase the price of this crude oil. Okay, then you can imagine the influence which can make an influence on every country which need this crude oil. Okay, they increase the higher the price of crude oil. The higher oil price reduced the supply of gasoline, right? Long run at the to increase this run, what can be? According to, as we have studied, okay, here, right, look at this. Okay, this is the supply line, right? This is supply. This is okay. What can be happen? Okay, as this supply line move to left, right here, okay, as they reduce the supply, the price will increase, right? According to the graph of the supply and demand. We have already studied this one. Then one way to increase the price is to reduce the supply, right? So they decide to reduce the supply. Then according to the economic theory, the price increased. Okay, so they reduce the production. They reduce the OPEC reduce the production, right, to increase the price. The higher oil price is reduced. The higher oil price reduced the supply of gasoline, right? Then the phenomenon happens, the long line at gas station to buy gasoline, even though higher price, right? Because at this case, once supply was reduced, there might be shortage, right? Shortage also, because this one happens suddenly, so the customer has no time to prepare this one. For example, the preparations to respond this, price increase is to change their car, but this can be preferred in not short times, in a long term time, because they cannot suddenly change their car. Okay, so the consequence of raising price will be appear in long term base. So, but temporarily, so the temporary long run on gas station, because the customer has to use their existing car. Okay, they have no any alternative in a short time to replace, for their alternative responding to higher gas price, they need time, because this phenomenon will be appeared in a long term, not in a short term. Okay, so long run on gas station. So a long line at gas stations become commonplace. That will be very common, because in short of supply. Okay, and motorists often has to wait for hours, even hours, to buy only a few gallons of gas. Okay, because this is happened because in short of supply, the OPEC as the OPEC reduced the supply of crude oil, so motorist has to wait long, even a couple of hours or more than hours, to get limited amount of gasoline, right? Okay, so if OPEC had not raised the price of crude oil, the shortage of gasoline would not have occurred, right? Yeah. Because the price will be decided according to demand and supply in the market. Okay. Yet, economists blame U.S. government regulations that limit the price oil, right? The companies could charge for gasoline. As the price raise skyrocket, the government cannot help regulating that one. Okay, the government cannot help regulating that one because of the higher and higher pricing of oil. So government has to make another alternative to prevent oil pricing from increasing. Okay. Figure 2, we will see the summary, the figure 2. Anyway, the figure 2 shows how happened and what happened. As shown in Fenway, I will show you. Before OPEC raised the price of crude oil, the equilibrium price of gasoline, the point P1, was below the price ceiling. Okay, this is the same situation as we have studied just now in the previous chapter regarding ice cream cone case study, right? Okay, anyway, before the government imposing price ceiling, right? Price ceiling, the equilibrium, the market price was below the selling price, below the selling price. Okay, the market price was below the selling price. So the price increasing for the price increasing here. If OPEC has not raised the price of crude oil, the shortage of gasoline would not have occurred yet. But economists blame U.S. government regulations rather than blame for OPEC's price raising. Why? Because U.S. government regulations limited the price oil company could change for gasoline. The meaning of this one is economists blame for U.S. government's the policy. What policy? Imposing price ceiling rather than what? OPEC's price rising. Okay? The policy was worse. That means the policy of U.S. government to limit price increase above selling price was make matter worse. Okay, than price raising of OPEC. The reason why economists blame more U.S. government than OPEC is we have already studied. Once government imposing policy of selling price in market, okay, negative effect rather than positive effect is more happen, right? So we will see the example by detecting figure, right? Okay, we will back to the figure to the final of this example as a case study and see what can happen. Okay. Let's see then. Okay, here is good example. We can imagine. Okay. Likewise, former case study of ice cream cone, we had a similar picture here. Okay, here we have a similar picture here. Now, see that. Funnel A, this is funnel A. Okay. Show the gasoline market when the price ceiling is not binding. There's no price ceiling. Okay. There's no price ceiling. I'm sorry. The price ceiling is exists, but the price ceiling is not binding. Yeah. Because the equilibrium price P is below the ceiling. Okay, not binding here. Because the equilibrium is below the price ceiling. Okay, the equilibrium, as I told you in previous study, is the price of market price, which is established automatically, naturally, by supply and demand, right? So we have equilibrium here. So this is the very natural national and reasoning. Okay, this is very natural reasoning price, which is established in the market. In the market. Okay, so the price point is a P1 is a equilibrium. Even government set the limitations of a price, but this price is above, the equilibrium. This price is higher than market price. As the market price is automatically established by supply and demand. In this case, even being a price ceiling, even there being a price ceiling, this ceiling price do not binding. Do not bind. Okay? So it's the meaningless. This is meaningless. Okay? Like this one. Okay, then. But the B showed the gasoline market after increase in the price of crude oil and input in the market gasoline shifted the supply curve to the left from S1 to S2, right? In an unregulated market, the price would have risen from P1 to P2. The price ceiling, however, prevented this from happening. Okay. At the binding price ceiling, consumers are willing to buy, but producers of gasolines are willing to share only, okay, Q2. As you understand? Okay. The difference between the quantity demanded and quantity supplied, right? This is the the difference between quantity supplied and quantity demand. This is shortage. Okay. This measures the gasoline shortage. We have already had a similar example with the ice cream cone, right? Okay, see that? This is similar situations, explanations, so not difficult to understand this one, right? So we're going like this. Okay. Similar, some easier to understand these explanations. Okay, look at this. The price of gasoline and quantity of gasoline here. This is price ceiling. Okay. Price ceiling is set, the limit by the government. Supplier cannot charge more than this price ceiling. And then, but the price, the natural price by supply and demand is determined below this price. Then, this price, the ceiling price, do not make any influence on this demand and supply and price and quantity. Okay, because the price in the market is a natural price which was established by demand and supply. There is no person who cannot purchase even though they need. Okay? Every people, if they meet the price, can purchase. Okay? At least artificially. Okay? So, but next to the graph, panel B, if you see this one, okay, because of the reduction of supply quantity, as supply quantity reduced, right? this is quantity here, but the quantity here. They reduced the quantity from blue line to red line here. Okay, would you follow this, ferro line then? If you go along this one to the left, see that. Okay, this one actually was the equilibrium, but eventually, as they have, okay, look at this. Okay, then you can see this spiral line as they have reduced when when spray falls, as they have decided, as the supplier OPEC reduced productions, then from here to here, then this drop will move to left, okay, because the reduction reduced. As this graph moved to left, then quantity reduced and price increased. So even this is equilibrium, but price from here to here, quantity reduced the price here, okay. But the problem is that okay, now we will check it again with the clear here. Supplier like OPEC reduced their productions. Then this is supply chain. If they reduce production like this, okay, then equilibrium from here, equilibrium will move to here, right? Because this one, this is quantity before they reduce their productions, and this is quantity after reducing production. Okay, then this graph will move to left, right, as the production quantity was reduced like this. Then if there is no ceiling, price ceiling here, this is price ceiling, this is the deadline which supplier can increase their price. But if this price ceiling is not existent, the price will be raised up to P2, right? P2. But as the government limit the price increase like this as a parallel, then the price will be move up to here, right here. Okay, look at this then. This is equilibrium, but as supplier reduce production, supply slope will move up to P2, right? P2. And then the problem is that if there is no price ceiling here, then quantity must be stability here, right here. But as government underline limitation like this, okay, then this equilibrium, which is supposed to be here, will move to here because it has to follow down with this graph because equilibrium move here. Okay, then originally this point might be the price and quantity, but Okay, not this one, sorry. But as government limit the pricing, this is price limiting line in parallel. So the equilibrium move from here to here, right? From here along the line to here. So QS will be quantity by selling price. Understand this? I'll explain this one again. This one, panel A, panel B can be compared together. Okay. In case of panel A, there is the ceiling, price ceiling determined by government, right? There's the government limit. This is a limit, price limit. Okay, this is price limit. But this pricing limit line is meaningless. It's meaningless. No meaning. It's meaningless because equilibrium, the market price, was established below this price ceiling. Okay, so this price ceiling do not bind, the equilibrium because market price is below the price ceiling. No problem. But look at this. Here, OPEC, the supplier, can reduce their productions. Okay, this is a quantity. As this line goes more left, more right, more quantity. If this line move to the left more, the less quantity, right? Understand this one? Then, as you can see here, this is OPEC's bright line, okay? Then OPEC want to reduce quantity from here to here, okay? As much as quantity. Anyway, this quantity, this is supply line here, and this one may be here, right? The quantity line. Okay, as much as this line, the line moved, because quantity moved, okay, then the line will move up to here, right? Okay, as you can see here, as OPEC reduce their quantity of crude oil, the price automatically goes up because supply is in short of. Then more people will pay more, right? Because there is more people than supplier, then people are willing to pay more to purchase that one. Okay, then look at this. When the price of equilibrium is here, but once this one moves to the left, the equilibrium is here. Okay, so price will be increased as a reduction of production from P1 to P2. Understand this one, right? Then this is very natural movement, but as there is the price ceiling determined by government intervention, right? Actually, government intervene the price increase compulsory. So this parallel line was underlined, okay, because of the government policy not to increase above this pricing. That pricing is selling price. Okay, selling price is determined. So actually, as the supply line move to the left because of reductions of supply, the price increase as much as up to P2. But actually, owing to this price ceiling, P2 cannot be charged by the supplier because government restrict this one, right? The government restrict not to do this one. Okay. Okay, so the supplier cannot help reducing the price along this supply line then up to here. Okay. Okay, then actually we might have a shortage then, right? Shortage. What's shortage? Okay. This price from this one this one, the gap between equilibrium will be shortage, right? Because actually this supplier can supply with this price ceiling, but they don't want this one, right? They don't want this one. So as much as they reduced pricing, okay, they will produce less. So this portion will be shortage. Understand this one. Okay. So as there is a shortage, someone, as much as this shortage, cannot purchase crude oil. That is very absurd phenomenon happen. Okay, then. Okay, again, I will iterate this one again and give you explanation with repetitions for your easy understanding. Okay, see that? I'll delete this one. Here, this is the original line of supply line, and this is demand line. We ignore rest of line here. Okay, we ignore here, we ignore here. Just think of the blue line. This is the supply line of OPEC, right? OPEC's crude oil. And this is demand, right, of certain countries. So, in the market, according to these two lines, this is equilibrium. The point which meet supply and demand meet, and where the side of price P1 and corresponding quantity Q1. Okay, so this is original supply and demand. Then OPEC decided to reduce production. How much? As much as this number. Okay? Okay, so when supply falls as much as this, then automatically this line will move as much as this up. As they reduce the supply, and the price automatically increase because more demand, less supply, right? So if this bar move up to here as much as the the quantity from left to right will increase. Okay, but this time to reduce the quantity, this bar should move left, not right. Okay, right here. Then this is new equilibrium by OPEC's reductions of oil, right? So this is very original estimations. But this will be done in the market when OPEC decides to reduce quantity of crude oil. Then the problem is that if OPEC is decided this in the market, the quantity and equilibrium must be here, and then quantity may be here. Okay, so the quantity will be reduced as much as this interval, right? Then this cannot be happen. Why? Because this red line, okay, this red line is a line on the line compulsory by the government imposing. The government impose price ceiling. The meaning of price ceiling is please do not increase the price more than this line. Okay, so they underline this one. So now the problem is that supplier cannot charge for oil as much as P2 because they want to, but they can't do that because their price is quite above price ceiling here. Okay, the price ceiling is a guideline which can be raised up by the supplier. Okay, the price ceiling is a guideline here. Then supplier's price cannot have pouring down to this price ceiling. Okay, like this. Then, as you can see here, this is the price down, not vertically, but along this line. Okay, see that? This line, you can look at. And then, now the interval is not from Q1 to a certain price here, but from Q1 to Q5 here. Okay, because this equilibrium move not here, along this one, here. Okay, so we can easily detect here, okay, equilibrium move here, equilibrium move here, okay, and this is the, also moving from guideline because this equilibrium also on the ceiling price, the price ceiling, and this is down price by government compulsory. So this might be a interval between QD and QS is actual shortage for the crude oil. Okay. Okay. So here, look at this. This Q2 is the equilibrium because the customer want to purchase crude oil at the price of a ceiling. Even actual price is P2, but as government regulate the price, this point on the ceiling price is the demand price. The country want to buy this point. Actually, this is the point of a price where supply countries want to share Okay, but actually they can do that because their price should be down to this. Okay, so this is the point of quantity, and this is the point of quantity of demand, and this is quantity of supply. So as much as this interval there is a shortage. I'm sorry. Okay. 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 Write this. Okay. Then as government determine selling price, there must be shortage and long line in gas station to buy gasoline. Okay, that is the explanations how price ceiling make an impact in economy and makes the phenomenon of a waiting line on gas stations. Okay, understand this one. Okay, let's go for the next. Okay. Okay. This is another example of rental control in short-term and long-run effect by imposing, you know, price ceiling here. Okay. I'll show you this one again. This is a similar impact and similar explanations, but to reinforce your thought and your understanding, I will give you another example. Rental control. Because the price of rental fee is increased, the government impose price ceiling for the rental fee, right? This one. Okay, this is one common example of rental control in short run and long run. As it is expressed in this text, we may see that this is the similar explanations to prior example, ice cream cone and crude oil. One common example of ceiling price ceiling is rental control, right? Rental control. In many cities, the local government place a ceiling, right, on the rental that landlords may charge their tenant. The goal of this policy is to have the poor by making house more affordable, right? Economists often criticize rental control, arguing that it is a highly inefficient way to have the poor raise their standard of living. Raise their standard of living. Why? One economist called rental control the best way to destroy the city. Even he criticized like this. The rental control, the main policy of this rental control is to impose price ceiling of rental fee, right? The best way, he criticized this one, it is the best way to destroy city other than bombing, right? Other than bombing, okay. The adverse effect, it is the side effect, the wrong effect of the rental control are less apparent to the general populations because this effect occurs over many years. Okay, it does not appear in a short time. It appears in a long time because renter, changing house as alternative takes a longer time. We cannot change. We cannot shift residence conditions in short time. Okay, so the impact of these renter controls will be appear in a long time. Okay, in a short run, landlords has a fixed number of apartments to rent, and they can't adjust their number quickly as market condition change, because this is the job taking a long time, right? Even there is the ceiling, price ceiling. Oh, sorry, price ceiling. They can't reduce in case of landlord cannot reduce the apartment, or tenant cannot change the house shiftly. It takes a little time. So the consequence will appear in the long run. Okay? Not in short time. Okay. Because in case of landlord also has a fixed number of apartments to rent, and then they can't adjust, but need time to adjustment, longer time. Okay, that's because the impact of this rental control will appear in a long time. Moreover, the number of people searching for a house in the city may not be highly responsive to rent in a short time too, right? Because they cannot find as short as possible according to this policy. Because the people takes time to adjust to their housing arrangement. Okay, therefore, the short run supply and demand for housing are relatively inelastic. Okay, inelastic. It's not elastic, inelastic. Okay, takes longer time, meaning that the impact will be appear, the consequence will be appear. So the short run supply and demand for housing are relatively inelastic. Okay, it takes more time. The meaning of this. We will give the panel A and B, and then give you the explanations. Panel A, figure 3, I'll show you. Show the short-run impact of rental control on the housing market, short run, as with any binding price ceiling. Okay, this is a binding price ceiling, and rental control causes a shortage. Okay, so I'll show you that one. Okay, I will show you this one with a picture. Okay, look at this. Look at this. Panel A, this is panel A, and this is panel B. Show short-run effect of rental control because the supply and demand curve for the apartment are relatively inelastic. The price ceiling imposed by rental control law causes only a small shortage of a house. Panel B shows the long-run impact of rental control because the supply and demand curve for apartment are more elastic. Rental control causes a large shortage. Okay, this is the short run and this is the long run impact in case of rental control. In this case, even government impose price ceiling here. This is the rental control. And then, okay, this is demand. And this is supply. Supply will be fixed then. Okay. In short time, the rent load. Oh, sorry. Rent load here. Okay. The rent load will fix because they can make more money. Then in a short time, they can do is to fix the number of apartment. So the supply is vertical right here. Okay, supply is vertical, not inclined. There's no slope. Okay, and then they fixed this one, and then gradually, as time goes on, they will reduce the supply, right? Okay, they will reduce supply. Then look at this. Okay, and then this is the price. Okay, then this will be as the number of the apartment to rent is fixed. Okay, then look at this, and then the people here seeking housing want to at the price of up to at most up to below the control pricing, right? So this gap, okay, this is vertical and this is demand, and this gap is a shortage. Okay, the tenant want to purchase on the selling price or at the selling price. Okay, this fair price, this original price, this original rhyme, and also supplier, tenant, not landlord will fix. They don't want to rent more apartment because as much as they increase their apartment, their interest will be reduced because the price is fixed here. Okay, so the gap between these two equilibrium is a shortage because this selling price is a guideline. Supplier cannot raise rental fee more than guideline. Also, at the same time, tenant do not want rent higher than this guideline. So, the equilibrium of quantity of supplier and quantity of demand will be on the same line. But there must be a gap like this. But this is very short run effect shortage. Because in case of a housing arrangement, it cannot be shipped in a short time. Look at this, the panel B here. Okay. In panel B, as you can see here, as time goes on, they will shift. And then the supplier also will reduced, right? Reduced. As time goes on, their demand also here, and they will reduce the supply here, right? So the shortage will be bigger, getting bigger. Okay, so this is the phenomenon of a long term. Okay, as the supplier will reduce as time goes on, their apartment number of apartment, and then at the same time, the tenant will sustain the pricing of control. Okay, so this is fixed, but as the supplier reduce the number of apartment to rent, the gap will be bigger and wider. Okay, so this shortage in a long time will be bigger. This is long run effect and this is short run effect. Okay.